Right, my lovelies. Can you all hear me first of all? Yes. Can you hear me at the back? Oh, can you hear me at the back? Yeah, that's better. See, there's going to be a little bit of participation, so I don't want you sitting there looking all serious. Okay. Now, for those of you who don't know me, I am Broadwood, and I am the owner of Petite Properties. If you don't know who Petite Properties are, where have you been? We are down there in the foyer and we specialise in the smaller scales. So first of all, I'm going to start with just talking about the smaller scales. Who here works in the smaller scales? Hands up. So not everybody. Oh, yeah. Yeah, now, when I say smaller scales, I'm going to criteria that in the way of anything that is smaller than 1/12. Okay, now if I say 1/12, we will have to boo. Okay, so smaller than 1/12. Excellent. Now, so we are going to look at 1 to 24th, 1 to 48th, and 1 to 144th. Now, for those of you that aren't familiar with the smaller scales, the ratios are for 1 to 12. That's a little bit slack, I have to say. I know it's hot, but I don't feel much effort. So 1 to 12, excellent, is 1 inch, if you're in old money, to a foot. Okay, everyone's familiar with that. 1 to 24th is simply 1 foot equals ½ an inch. Okay, so that's why sometimes 1 to 24th is called half scale. It's because of the ½ inch. Okay, I know I'm probably teaching Granny to suck eggs here because I know a lot of you will already know this. And then 1 to 48th is 1 foot in real life equals ¼ inch. Okay, so hence where we get the term quarter scale. So we don't like to keep it simple and just use one term. We like to dip in and out of other terms. And then the very teeny tiny one, which if you're into 1/12, 1 to 144th is a 1/12 doll's house for a 1/12 doll's house. Okay, so that's the really teeny tiny one. Okay, now the magazine is what I'm here to talk to you about today, but I want to kind of go back before the conception of our magazine. And when I joined the miniature world in 2003, there were 3 fabulous Doll's House magazines available for the hobby. There was Doll's House World, the Doll's House magazine, and Doll's House and Miniature Scene. Now, obviously, that reflects a vibrant and energetic hobby. And all 3 magazines had their own sort of different styles, but obviously they came together to celebrate the hobby en masse. Now, gradually as time's gone on, sadly, we've lost all 3 publications from the print world. I believe Doll's House World still is going in digital form. Now, it is for me, a real sadness to watch this slow demise of the magazines, because I think if you don't have a magazine within the hobby, then you don't have that showcase, that place of inspiration. Yes, there are lots of books on the subject, but I think there's something special about a magazine. Now, another issue that has come into the publication and the printing world is digital. Now, hands up who likes to read digitally. Oh, just one. You were very brave. You were like this. Just me. Yes.
In a country where those houses are non-existent.
So yes.
So, we get the occasional magazine.
Yeah.
I've downsized that, have no space for my collection anymore.
So digital, yeah. So there's a lot of magazines are moving over to a digital format. Now, obviously, I'm slightly mature. Obviously, I'm a little bit old-fashioned. And I'm sorry, I like to hold a physical magazine. I like the I don't know, the tactileness, the flicking through. I know you can take digital everywhere, but I just like that. You take it on holiday, pop it in your case, hand luggage. Old-fashioned. But so fast forward, as we saw the demise of these three big titles, it was quite sad. But there was another factor into the sadness. I used to write, I don't know if anyone remembers, I used to write for Doll's House, A Miniature Scene. I wrote for them for nearly 10 years, and it was a wonderful experience. And I worked with some brilliant members of the magazine, some really creative people. And I learned so much, had a wonderful time. And then when they decided it was going to be the end, I kind of went, what we're going to do then? That's a bit of a shame. Also, I have a lot of my customers who are very into the smaller scales and energetic and passionate about the smaller scales. And they found that they were buying a magazine that would only have, say, 4 pages of smaller scale content in. So you're not really getting much return for your money. So that is when Mo and I sat down one day and we consumed wine, and we decided that it would be a lovely idea to, let's do a magazine. How hard can it be? Fast forward to now, grey hair, wrinkles, magazine. So we thought, well, why don't we do it? No one else was going to do it. We're void of magazines, and also we wanted to... Oh, I've got no signal. My batteries are run out. That's it. Thank you. And good night. So we thought, right, if we're going to do a magazine, what do we want in it? The first thing that really annoys me about magazines is I understand that there needs to be advertising, but I don't want lots of it. I actually sat down when we were researching this magazine and got a whole spectrum of what I'll call hobby magazines. So not miniatures, but just different hobby magazines. And I looked at the cover price, and then I went through with a fine-tooth comb and counted content pages. Then I worked out if you divided the content pages by the price on the cover, you weren't getting much bang for your buck. So that was one of the things that first of all we thought, we want content. We want to fill it from cover to cover with content. The advertising that we have in a magazine as well, we were like, we don't want any irrelevant advertising. We just want advertising that is relevant to our hobby. So things that readers of the magazine would say, right, oh, well, that helps me because I'm looking for that. So we wanted relevant advertising. We kept advertising to a minimum. The magazine is either really ridiculously stupidly or very cleverly not funded by the advertising. So it's not something that we're reliant on. Okay. So when we first started, we launched issue 1, and we were tentative. How's it going to be? Not sure. We'd made this wish list of what sort of content we wanted to see in it, but just because Mo and I would be very happy with that doesn't mean to say that you guys would. So when we launched issue 1, we really didn't know what to expect. We launched, and I had to have a very quick conversation with our printer to say, could you print some more? So it was a very lovely surprise. It doesn't always go like that, and it was a big risk. But from the outset, we said we would fund 4 issues, and then we would have a cup of tea, sit down, and see how it's gone. The response to issue 1 was phenomenal. That was really, really lovely. And then each print run that we've done since then, we've gradually increased. But what we've also increased and also decreased, when I started the magazine, it's a lot written by me. This is not something that I want to go forward. I want other writers and other contributors, but to have a magazine to be able to show, would you like to be part of this magazine? You have to have something to show. So hands up, who has read other issues of the magazine? So 1, 2, 3, 4. A few. So did you like it? Yes, and lots of nodding heads, okay. But what we wanted to do is bring other people's voices in, and gradually we've been able to expand the contributor team that will write for it. We've got multi-talented people. We've got Chris in Northern Ireland, who is such a creative miniaturist, and he's doing dioramas. What we've also tried to do is, does anybody here do railway modelling or have... Too soon. What scale do you work in?
143.
140. So you do O gauge? Yeah. When you go into the railway world, which we do because Petite Properties also work in for model railways, we do railway buildings. What we've noticed is they have a huge hobby, and their world has so many techniques that should be crossed over into our world. Equally, they are lacking in some areas that I know you guys could do blindfolded. So one of the things we wanted to do in the magazine was to bring all the different areas of hobbies that work in the smaller scales, bring them together. Yeah, because at the moment it seems like the railway modelers are over here, then you've got the war gamers over here, and then you've got the doll's house people in the middle. When actually, if I had a nice Venn diagram, you would have an area in the middle that is you're all overlapping with the same techniques, the same skills, the same materials. So in the magazine, we are actively bringing in some of the railway world and some railway modelers whose diorama skills are phenomenal. We've also trying to bring in some war gamers, and they are, is anyone here a war gamer or know a war gamer? A few. They are phenomenal at figure painting and stuff like that, aren't they? Their painting skills, phenomenal. But like, we should be listening to this, because for smaller scales, 3D printing has exploded into the hobby. Who has been buying 3D printed items today? Now, the painting techniques that the war gamers use are totally transferable over to our painting of our 3D miniatures. So what we're trying to do is basically bring the world together. Sounds like join the world and all shake hands. I'll start being Michael Jackson, we are the world. But just bring everybody together, because I think we can share a lot from each other. And that will help us to improve what we do. Like, if you want good landscaping, go to the model railway people. Obviously, great interiors, dolls' houses. And then if you want painted figurines, the war gamers. So it's just a bit of everybody talking together. Now, when we first started the magazine, we didn't really know what we were doing. Mo and I, we were winging it. I think that's the professional term. So I thought I'd just quickly show you how the magazine is put together. I had the benefit of, like I said, working with some editors from Doll's House Miniature Scene. And I'm not saying that this is how they put their magazine together, but they certainly gave me some good hints and tips along the way of how to go about putting it together. So first of all, has anybody watched Devil Wears Prada? It's a bit random. I don't know if you've seen number 1 where they talk about the book and she has to deliver the book. Yeah? No? Yeah? Nod. A few nods. The book is basically a mock-up of the magazine. So what we do is we have our 100 pages that we need to fill. And when I work on different articles or different features, we allocate them a page quantity. Sometimes they go over, sometimes they go under. So it's a little bit of a Tetris to fit it all together. But basically we have 100 pages. We then send this book to people that proofread it for us. We are not completely infallible. We do miss some typos before everyone goes, on page so-and-so there was a typo. We do miss some. It's you go sort of like nose blind. When you read something time and time again, you don't see the errors until they're in print. So anyway, we put together the book, and this is where the magazine is mocked up. Once we've gone through and we've done all the corrections, we then send it to our lovely printer, who prints it out and then sends it back to us. One of the other things that was really important to us, and this was Mo, this was her baby, she wanted it to feel nice. Now by that she said she wanted a glossy cover and she wanted the pages to be thick. So I know more about paper than I thought I ever needed to know in my life. Literally. The printer's like, oh, you want to choose paper, love? Right, here are your options. So we did spend a lot of time deciding on paper quality and glossy or not too glossy, that was the question. So we wanted something that would fit in your hands and feel nice. Getting lots of nods down there. And also something that wasn't going to fall apart. So we did, this is called Perfect Bound. See, didn't know this before, but Perfect Bound. We wanted it to be a magazine because it's going to come out quarterly. We want it to be a magazine that isn't going to fall apart and is going to last. Also, it's a beast of a magazine, so we're hoping that you will keep them and sort of refer back to them. Now, after we'd sorted out all things like paper qualities and stuff like that, we had to look at what were we actually going to fill the magazine with. Now, who loves a good project? Yes. Now, I obviously do what I do in my job, and that is to design kits. But there is a big part of my world that doesn't fit into designing kits. And that is lovely scratch build Blue Peter-esque projects. I love them. I was raised by Blue Peter. If you couldn't make it on Blue Peter, it wasn't worth making. Oh, Tracy Island. Oh, I had lots of, I didn't have loads and loads of toys, but I had a box underneath the staircase in my mum and dad's house, and it was filled with like yogurt pots and tea bag boxes and all that kind of stuff. Toilet rolls. Well, you can't make with a toilet roll, is not worth making. So that kind of modelling is something that's really close to my heart. Now, obviously, it doesn't really fit into my day job. So what's been really exciting and what's been, for me, probably one of the best things about the magazine is that it's given me an opportunity to validate coming up with all these like, mad ideas of what we can make with whatever. So this was one of the biggest projects that we've done so far, and it ran over a couple of the issues. And it was inspired by who likes the works? I know. And isn't it awful that they don't sell online anymore? Did you know? Is this a revelation? Am I bringing down your day? They've stopped selling online. They're only in store. And gasp. Excellent. So yes, you can't order online, which is a real shame. But if you've got access to the works, they're a great place for budget crafting items. Now this was a box that I saw, an innocuous box. I think it was £5. And obviously when I saw this, I thought, book. That says to me, book. So one of the projects that we've got in the magazine is this little book box, and it was simply made with lots of scraps of bits and pieces, proper Blue Peter modelling. The exterior of it is made with funky foam. You know, the coloured foam that children use? Brilliant stuff. And do we have, going to be controversial, do we have any fans of Temu here? It's a Marmite thing, either love it or hate it. And if you're wondering where I got all the hardware for it, the corners and the clasp and all those pieces, it was from Temu, and they were incredibly cheap. So I think when I did a quick sum of how much this costed me, and including the metalwork and everything, I think it came at about £7.30 for the whole thing. Now, obviously, that you could cut that cost if you already had the funky foam and that if you already had it. So it just goes to show what you can create. And I think, just as a little side topic, I am aware that at the moment, the cost of living is something that I think has affected everybody with energy prices. I don't want to bring the mood down, but realism. And I know that crafting budgets and hobby budgets are probably more checked now than they've ever been. And so these projects that I'm very excited to be putting in the magazine, I'm also excited about them because they are pennies. You know, these are things. Most of you, hands up who has a stash. Wonderful people, wonderful people. Yes, we all have our stash. So using our stash with just a few maybe new materials added in, you can be creating exciting things like this. This also leads me to, these have been the most popular project that we've had in the magazine so far. They featured in issue 1. And this began life as a imperial leather hand soap bottle. And again, Temu for the drawer pulls and feet, very, very cheap. And then I used card and discs of card to create the bases and then just painted them to match the gold. And it's created little domes that when you touch them, you know what they are. But I think they do a little bit of a clever job of disguise. Another thing that we did in the magazine, and this kind of gives you a flavour of what we're trying to do with it. This, again, this is Temu's finest tree. Now, there's nothing wrong. For about a week in May, the world does look like this colour. But the rest of the time, it's a lot more muted. So what we've done is just done a simple project where we've taken this tree and we've just used some spray paints and we've just knocked back. So again, you can get something really inexpensive and just a little bit of paint added, and you've created something that's so much more realistic, apart from like a week in May, that I will concede that it probably is that colour. So that brings me to the thing that's under the, I've probably built this up way too much, the thing that's under the cloth. Ready, steady. Breathe. Remember what your focus is. Okay. So, I don't know if this will, it should do. This is going to be in issue, excellent. Totally spontaneous reaction. Excellent. Oh, I'm so pleased you came. No, you haven't been practicing. You can't really see all that and you can't really see it. Right, I'm going to turn it round to you so you can see it with your real eyes. Has anybody got any ideas of what that began life as? It is, I'm going to walk it round. Look on the lines. So we're just a bit investing in shabby chicness here. He's like, it's not my scale, I don't want to know. So just a bit of shabby chic. Yeah? It was a pen pot. A simple wooden pen pot. Bought really, I think I paid just under £2 for the wooden pencil pot. Again, these little bits and pieces are favourite China site. But you can get them in we used to send everyone to Wilkinson's and now it's gone, but somewhere like Wilkinson's you can get like very inexpensive hardware. And all I've done is used some wallpapers and just created the insides. Now, this project will be in issue 5 and I'll take you through each of the stages. Also, when you are trying to do an interior, create an interior in something that's already constructed, it becomes keyhole surgery in the smaller scales, doesn't it? You feel like a surgeon, keyhole. By making a card inset for your room, you can work on all your wallpaper and all your details outside and then fold it and slide it in. So it's a bit like a ship in a bottle kind of thing. So issue 5 is going to feature that as a project. Now going forward, something that we really want, and that's why I wanted to speak to you all about the magazine today, is as much as we have tried to gather fellow artisans and makers in the smaller scales, we also want to focus and feature your creations, yeah? Now, before anyone goes, oh, I don't know if mine's good enough, we want to feature, even if you're a beginner, if you're a little person, We want to feature real miniaturist projects. Now, another thing that I wanted to just sort of finish on is, although it's called Petite Properties magazine, we've used that because we feel, synonymous with the smaller scales. But Petite Properties is a vague term that incorporates all small things, yeah, and the Petite Properties and the things that are in them. So what we want to do is we want to feature your work, but it doesn't have to be something that is being produced by our company. Okay, it can be by any other maker, or even better, scratch builds that you've done. Okay, so please, if you have created or are in the process of creating any smaller scale projects and railway scales as well, do get in contact with us and let me know. Email Petite Properties and let me know. Send me some pictures, and I would be delighted to feature you in one of the future issues, because I think that as much as it's lovely to see professional work, I think there's a feeling that, oh yeah, but that's what they do, that's their day job. Of course they're going to make it like that, but sometimes I think it's more inspiring when it's a fellow miniaturist's work. I don't know if that's just, do you know what I mean? If it's like Barbara from the local club and she's created whatever, sometimes that can be more accessible and more inspiring than an artisan's creation. You think, oh, I couldn't do that. So that's something that I would like to openly make a plea for. If you have something, if you've worked on a project or you're about to start on a project and you think it might be something that we'd like to feature, then do please contact us. We also would like your feedback. Please be kind. Gentle words. But yeah, we would love to hear your feedback, because although this is Mo and I's vision for a new publication, we are not that blasé to think that we've got it right. So if you feel that there is something missing, that we haven't covered a specific area, or equally, if there is an area that you would like to see more of, as long as it's not Tony, that's fine. He desperately wants to be in it, it really does. Like, no, dear. So yeah, if there's something that you specifically would like to see either us cover or feature, or even if you have something that you would, for example, if you said, I'd really like to learn how to make a book box, or I'd really like to make, I don't know, a toadstool house, or, you know, if there's something like that, give me a challenge and I'll be rummaging through my stash quicker than you can say. So yeah, any ideas for the future would be really good. Obviously, we have a lot of hope in this magazine. I can't say that I'll be here next year and we'll still be going, because it's ultimately depends on you guys supporting it, which I know sounds like a bit pathetic, but that's the bottom line. If we can move copies, then we can keep going. We're hoping that we will be a little bit like a snowball, and as we get momentum and move forward, that it will expand and expand and expand. At the moment, we are working off a quarterly publication. Obviously, if we get some motivation going, it might move to bi-monthly, because we know that momentum is very important. So if you haven't tried one of our magazines, please do. This is where the hard sell is. This is like the timeshare section of the talk. If you do really love digital, we do offer it in digital. It's not as popular as our print, but we do have digital available. Each publication now has sold out the one that they've published in print form. So the back copies are only available in digital now. We do have issue 4 with us today, and with luck and the patron saints of printing on our side, issue 5 should be rumbling off of the printing conveyor belt at the end of this month. So if you are waiting on issue 5, yeah, so it'll be coming at the end of the month. So I know that it's been a bit of a hard sell talk, and this isn't normally the sort of thing I talk about, but if you like the magazine, please support it. Also, please share the news of it. It's very difficult to get the news of our magazine out and rippling through the miniature world, and we really do want it to stay. I mean, it's not going to make me a millionaire, but it's certainly, I think, going to underpin the whole hobby. I know that it doesn't cover 1 to 12. Excellent. It's such a good group. And I know it doesn't cover 1 to 12, but I will say, I think they've had enough of the limelight. And I think if you look around at the stands that we've got at this show and at any of the Dolls House shows, the smaller scales are moving forward. And I think the advancements in technology like laser cutters, 3D printers, all of these advancements have really benefited the smaller scales. And now there is a veritable explosion. It will be like, well, there's no 1/12 at that show anymore. You missed that one, guys. We were doing so well. So I think that the small scales are, for me, certainly the future. This magazine will underpin that, and hopefully it will bring a few different disciplines of the hobby together. I know I've waffled on about it, so I do apologise for that. But if you do like Blue Peter modelling and you are a scratch builder, do watch out, because I'm really going to be having fun. It's my excuse. It's for the magazine, I can do it. So I'm going to have fun with lots of different projects. We are also hopefully, and this is at the moment, it's just out there, but we are aiming to be launching a project supplement once a year. And this will be a collection of smaller scale projects that, to be honest, that we can't fit in the magazine. We did think when we started, we had this bonkers idea of 100 pages. Well, I will do 100 pages. How hard can it be? For the first one, we were like, okay, that's quite a lot of pages. Maybe we shouldn't have said 100 pages. But very quickly, issue 2, issue 3, it was like, oh, only 100 pages. It started to gather momentum. So unfortunately, we have other projects that just haven't been able to make it into issues that we will then tie up with a bow and present to you as a project supplement. Again, if you have a project or you have something that you would like to include in a project style supplement, again, contact me and I'm more than happy to include it. Okay? So is there any questions? You can. We have a feature and it's called Join Our Club. And in each issue, we've gone around the world. We did somewhere in New Zealand, and we focus on a club. So if you do have a club, and if you're a member of a club, do contact us, and we will happily feature you. Because, unfortunately, a lot of the old-fashioned club meets and all of that, they are disappearing. I think COVID didn't help us. But yeah, so if you're part of a club, again, please contact us and we will do what we can to feature you. Any more questions? Oh, it's $6.99. That's okay? $6.99. Yeah. We've tried really hard at every turn to, I think, in today's market, to offer the best product at the best price. And we thought it was $5.99 when it first came out. Unfortunately, paper prices have skyrocketed, as with everything. It's the paper prices that have gone up. Subscription is something that we are actively looking at. Now, does anybody subscription. Anybody had subscription here to old magazines? Yeah. It's something that we're looking at. Now, the issue that we have is because our price point on our magazine is as low as we can go, we can't offer a reduced rate for a subscription. However, what we're looking at is, because the print runs do go quite quickly, offering a subscription where we can't give you a discount, but what we can do is we will just mail you your magazine, so you will never miss. You've guaranteed yourself. Do you understand what I mean? And it feels like I'm being a bit tight, but we can't give a subscription. I want to be able to give a better price, but we can't, because that's how we've priced the magazine, to be the best price.
What month do they come out?
Well, we're trying to fall into, at first, could be any time. When it was ready was a good time to. What we're trying to do is we're trying to do March, June, September, January. That's our planned kind of ideal launch, because I don't know about you, but January is so grim. And I think that to have a magazine come out in January, to have something that you can like sit by the fire and like, you know, so that's why we really want to hit January. So we're kind of working back from January. The September one obviously will incorporate some Christmas things, and I don't know about you, but I have a subscription to Housekeeping magazine, Good Housekeeping, and their Christmas issue is brilliant. But by the time I've read it, my opportunity to do anything that's in it for Christmas has passed. I need to think about Christmas in like June, July, now. I'm Christmas shopping now. Because Christmas is such a busy time for us work-wise, so I have to do it earlier. So the idea is that September issue would then have some Christmassy things that if you wanted to do anything for Christmas, you've got plenty of time to get yourself going and do it and do that. So, but when I say those are the months, unfortunately, because we're a very, very small publication, even though we're very impressed with how much it's grown to date, we are tiny in our printer's eyes. We're like nothing, because he is a magazine printer who prints our magazines. So I'm a drop in the ocean. So he's a wonderful printer, and he does a brilliant job, but he fits our print run in when he can. So even though we have like June, September, January, it's all dependent on Tom, our printer, as to, can he fit us in? So it's like it's in the lap of the gods with that, but that's what we're aiming for. Okay, any other questions? What was our first print run? Oh, that's a cheeky question. It was 2000. And we thought that 2000 was a strong start. And then each publication since then has gone up in increments. So, yeah. Sounds like, I don't know, does that sound like a lot or not a lot? It's not going to set the world on fire, but it's a good start. It's a good start. So, but yeah, so we're hoping great things. But if you haven't already read it, have a flick through. No pressure. Twist your arm. And like I said, if you do prefer digital, we do digital, but obviously print is where we throw our energy into. But thank you very much for coming into this incredibly stuffy. I'm envious of your fan. I could do with one of them. Thank you for coming, and thank you for listening to me waffle on with a real hard sell this time. Next time, I promise you, we'll be back to creating. But for now, it was all about the magazine. So thank you very much. Thank you.